Well, happy Monday to you. Chris Hare here, the world champion crypto cowboy, bringing you your nightly update on Bitcoin. And the question begs, with all the dumping that we've had, are we in a bear market? And I didn't want to think we were, but I think there's some things we need to talk about tonight. We're getting very close to some supports that if we lose them, I think we have to consider ourselves in a full-blown bear market. But we'll break it all down tonight, all the way from an hourly chart out to those weekly charts. I'll give you those long-range targets. We'll figure it out. But I am a world champion rodeo cowboy in the team roping and cowboy mounted shooting events. And I'm taking the strategy and the discipline that I use right outside in my arena. I'm bringing them right here to the crypto desk. I'm going to tweak them a little bit. And if you stick around long enough, hopefully we can make you world champion crypto traders. So go ahead and like, subscribe, tap that bell notification. You're not going to want to miss a video. And I'm going to do something pretty neat at the end. Stick around for that and you'll find out what it is. But we'll start off with the crypto fear and greed index, currently at a 22. We were at a 24 yesterday, so we came down just a little bit. Not surprising with the big flash dump we had yesterday evening. Just like we talked about in the videos, we knew it was coming, and if you traded along with me, we made a ton of money. I threw out signals in the crypto school. You'll also find a link to that in my description. We printed a lot of money today and last night, guys. But this measures market sentiment. It tells us if people are scared or if they're greedy, and what I like to use it for is I buy when we go into fear. I buy a little more when we go into extreme fear, and then I sit on it, forget about it, just don't even think about it. Eventually it goes up into greed and I sell it off. It's a strategy that's worked well for me. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. I haven't DCA'd back into Solana or Ethereum. I may if we drop back into extreme fear. We're down double digits right now. But like I said, I sit on it, forget about it, and go on. But if you needed an exchange to trade on, go ahead and check out BitUnex. You'll find a link to that in my description. You get a cashback. You get a deposit on your first. You get a cashback bonus on your first deposit. And I think you get a little better trading fee, so go ahead and check that out. Moving out into the liquidation heat map. We'll start off on the weekly because it gives us a shorter range idea of what's going on. This is what market makers use to track your liquidity. Everything above price action is a short trade. Everything below price action is a long trade. And the market makers just run this up and down, grabbing your liquidity. They don't really care about TA. All they care about is where your liquidation points are. Our job is to stay out in front of them. So cumulatively, right now, we've got about $1.3 billion in short trades and about $582 million in longs. There is a bright pocket here around $85,000 to $84,000. I think that's probably where we're headed. There's another bright pocket down here at about $83,000. Question begs, do they want to go after that, or they want to come up here to around $89,000, $90,000, grab this bright pocket of liquidity there? We'll figure that out in the charts here in a minute. I'm going to show you a macro liquidation heat map. This is on a yearly, so it gives us all the liquidations. And you can see we're building bright pockets in here around $80,000, $81,000. I don't think they're going to leave them there. I think they're going to want to come after them. But cumulatively, we've got about $9.87 billion worth of short trades on the books. To the long side, we've got about $2.3 billion. So the imbalance is still to the upside, but I think they want to come after some of this first. How much they want to come after is yet to be determined, but we're going to go ahead and get into the charts. We're going to figure that out. We'll start off with an hourly chart. I post these in the crypto school every single night. You can see them there. You'll find the link to that in my description. Like I said, I did post some signals from up here at the top. We rode it all the way down. We've taken profit all the way. We're still in the trade just in case we come back down. But that's what we'll get to now. You can see we lost the 50 moving averages. I talked about that last night. I said if we lose that, it's not good. And it wasn't. We've got two big bearish fair value gaps in our way now. We came down and got into the golden zone on the hourly. We lost the 50 smooth moving average. We came in and we came out of it, but we rejected on equilibrium coming back up, which isn't usually a good sign. You really want to get on up to these other golden zones. We couldn't even get up to the 382. That's usually, well, we did get to the 382 and we rejected off of it. This 382 is for the downside. So when that happens, you consider it a dead cat bounce. I think we're coming back down. The question begs, do we come back down and stay in this golden zone, or do we lose the golden zone and start thinking about lower targets? You can see the dotted line here. And when we get into the daily and the weekly charts, you'll understand what these are for. There's a head and shoulders pattern that has formed on the macro, and this is our validation line somewhere around 80,000. If we come down, drop down into 77 to 72,000, come up, retest this and reject, I think we're in a full-blown bear market and it's going to get ugly. But what we could do is come down here, retest this 618 at about 85.3 and work our way up above these 50 moving averages that you see right here. That takes 50 of these candles, puts a fluid line on the chart, works as support and resistance. If we can get above those, I think $89,000 to $91,000 is a realistic target. Your next stop would be $95,000 to $99,000. We do have a lot of resistance up here. That's the weekly 50 simple moving average. And when we get into the 4-hour chart, you'll have a better understanding of what I'm talking about. You can see that head and shoulders, this is just a rudimentary area. Technically, you could pull that down to here if we don't go higher. But you can see this dotted line around $80,000 is basically our line in the sand. When I show you the targets on the daily and weekly, you'll understand that more. What we have done is come in and set in a higher low. That's bullish. The question is, we lost the 4-hour 50 simple moving average and we rejected straight off the 4-hour 50 smoothed moving average. So the smooth moving average takes a composite of the simple moving average and the exponential moving average that I don't really use, and it puts like a composite line on the chart, if you will. You can see we came down to the 4-hour retracement zone, hit the bottom of it, bounced out, but now we're losing steam before we even get there. So the question becomes, do we bounce at 85.7 and work our way up and try to retest it at 88.5? Or do we just come on down from here and head to these extensions? That's the big question on my mind right now. This almost wants to put in a bullish structure. If we can get above these 4-hour 50s, I think our next stops are 97 to 101. You can see there's a couple of things sitting here. There's a weekly 50 smooth moving average and a daily 50 moving average, and those are strong resistance to get over. You'll also see your 4-hour, the red line here is the 4-hour 200 moving average that takes 200 of these candles and puts a line on the chart. You can see we've got a lot of resistance to get through to get up to these higher targets of 114 to 124. If we break above this on this run, I think that these are realistic targets, somewhere around 114 to 124. If we reject here and we lose this, like I said, $78,000 to $73,000 is your next target. Come up and retest 80,000. If we lose it, it gets ugly, guys. $50,000 to $60,000, I think, is definitely on the cards. You'll see this more on the daily now. You can see if I move this over, there's a right shoulder here. We came up and made a head. There's the bottom of your left shoulder. And then your validation is this green dotted line. With that bearish fair value gap there, and we've retested it and rejected off, it makes me very concerned that we're heading down. This line basically goes from the top of the head to the bottom of the right shoulder. When you do that, bring it over to your validation line where you break out. It gives you a target. Sometimes they fill out half, which would be around $62,000, but usually the target's around $50,000. Or the whole thing, and that target's at around $50,000. That's my concern. That's why I wonder if we're in a bear market. I think your last line of hope is 67.8. There's a bullish order block there. If you can't sustain that, then you're coming on down. It gets ugly. You can see volumes dropped out. We've had some bright sell volume, but it's dropping out now. So the question begs, where do we go from here? Lots of uncertainty in these charts, but we're finally getting some answers. Maybe. You can see we tried to lose this weekly 50 simple smooth moving average again on the weekly chart, but we've reclaimed it for now. The bullish thing was that we closed above it yesterday, so hopefully maybe this is just a retest and we come on up. But you can see there's a bearish fair value gap that sits at $96,000. You've also got your weekly simple moving average and your daily 50 sitting at 102. So it's going to be a hard push to get to 105 to 114, but you can't completely rule it out. The further we go along, the less likely I think those targets are until we have some further downside. What these can do, these head and shoulders can do, they can come down and validate that line, but on that retest, sometimes they reclaim it and they push on up. That could happen here. We've still got this fair value gap that we've only bounced off of the top of, so you could argue that 76.7 could be another place to bounce. equilibrium. The halfway point sits at about 72,000. So there's some pretty strong support right in this area that could be a catalyst to push us up higher. But like I said, if not, I'm really concerned about where we've been and where we're going from here. It really looks like there's more downside in the tank, but we're going to take it day to day. We're going to figure it out. We're going to figure out exactly what's going on, and we'll get to the bottom of it. It'll either work or it won't, but we can trade it either way. That's where I'm at. My spot bags, I'm just really not worried about them. If they're negative, I'm just going to dollar cost average into the bear market, and hopefully they come back. And Bitcoin's I feel like Bitcoin's always a good buy sub 100,000. So there's an opportunity to buy there. But I really appreciate you guys watching this video. I'm going to wrap it up with something a little different tonight. If you didn't know, I am a follower of Jesus Christ. December is the month leading up to the birth of my Lord and Savior. I believe Jesus died on the cross and was resurrected 3 days later for my sins, so that I could be forgiving and have eternal life. So I want to share the story of Jesus with you. It's a short passage that I'm going to read every single night. There's little pieces and parts that go with it. It's a short read. So without further ado, I'm going to start off in John chapter 1. It says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. All things were created through him. And apart from him, not one thing was created that has been created. In him was life, and that life was the light of men. That light shines in the darkness, and yet the darkness did not overcome." And moving on into verse 14, "The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. We observed his glory. The glory is as the one and only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. John testified concerning him and exclaimed, 'This was the one whom I said, the one coming after me ranks ahead of me, because he existed before me. Indeed, we have all received grace.'" So I'm going to wrap it up with that tonight. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tap that bell notification, and leave us a comment. Let me know what you think about my Bible reading. It's very important to me. It's very important to my faith. And I really wanted to share that with you guys. So we'll do it every single night through the month of December, all the way up to December 4th on Jesus' birthday. It's going to be a great deal. I really appreciate it. But I'm going to wrap it up for now. I'm Chris Hare, the world champion crypto cowboy. Thanks so much for watching. And you guys are such a blessing. But I'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you down the road.